Hi everybody, happy Friday. Here we are, and let's hope that the batteries stay in place and everything is good for our live today. So we're good? I think we're good. Okay. So crazy week, obviously. And so I hope everybody is doing well. Friends and family are all safe. And I know that we have some friends and family of those, even with our staff here at DS Family Medicine, who know of or is intimately involved in people who were definitely affected, if not lost everything through this tragic event. And so we are definitely keeping everyone in our hearts and in our minds and in our prayers, and certainly trying to help in any way we can. So it's kind of a funny thing to try to do a live and give you a little uplift and some happy time here for an hour or so on a Friday in the midst of so much stress and truly just devastation around us. But it is also a wonderful thing. I know this morning I saw the video of kind of the Cajun Navy and all those things, and man, that's so makes you really feel warm and fuzzy inside when you see how amazing people can be, especially the people within our community in the state of Louisiana, for our other Southern friends around us. So with that said, my heart goes out to anyone who has been affected by this. I'm sure we all have in some way or form. And it's just another obstacle, obviously, for us to kind of get through in this crazy year of 2020 that has been something else, that's for sure. So anyway, with that said, I want to get more into, I actually wrote some notes for today because I had kind of changed what I wanted to talk about this morning truly quickly because of an interaction with a very special patient of mine who just really inspired me to maybe discuss some things that I think should be discussed, and that I think we are all affected by, and hopefully will hit home for some of you, is very different from things that we have talked about thus far, different in the same. But before we do that, let's get to our giveaways from last week. So we gave away 5 magnesiums, and the winners of those is Miss Gail Brissett, Miss Nina Magyar, Miss Stephanie Triplett, and Miss Dana Santangelo. And so please come by and get, oh wait, I said 5. I'm sorry, there was 5 written on here. And Miss Tracy Davis. So please come by and get your magnesium. You know what, we should, okay. And I'm gonna give magnesium to, look, see, now Sam just shakes her head yes when I add things in. So also to Miss Melissa Helmers, and also to Miss Andrea Oler. We love all of you. Come get your magnesium. We definitely are going to give away extra stuff today because it's just a time of giving and sharing and supporting each other. So let's give away 7. That's my favorite number because it rhymes with 7. I know that's just so silly, but it's true. Okay, so, and then we have an IV headache that we want to give away to Miss Terry Pogue. We hope to help you with that, and please, hi everybody, I see everybody who's here. So please come by. Miss Terry, call our DS Therapeutics line, please, to schedule that and make sure that it is safe for you to get that. But we hope that between that and the magnesium, we can at least provide some uplifting, good things for our patients who interacted with us last week and shared our posts and liked everything we were doing, which we love that you do. So if your name was just mentioned, please come by the clinic, or we will put it to the side for you, and it'll be waiting for you to pick up. So I'm just realizing that I don't know what I'm going to give away today, but let's just see where this goes. So I wanted to talk about something that is really something that has come up before in previous interactions with patients, and truly a good bit, and something that lately has somewhat weighed on my heart in a way, because it directly sometimes is a negative thing with regard to what I practice, the type of medicine I do, what I believe in, and what truly I think that I am good at, and other things that I think I'm not so good at. And that has to do with old people. And so old people is not something that I don't think I've ever talked about old people other than saying how much I love my granny on any of these live videos before. But I had a very interesting interaction this morning with one of my patients who is so near and dear to my heart. She is just lovely. And I just felt like after going through that conversation, and I told her, I said, I am going to completely use this whole interaction for what I want to talk about on my live video today. And so I think that personally, my confession would be that I don't talk about being old that much here because this is more of a preventative wellness forum, a way to stay healthy without maybe using meds or minimizing the meds you're using. And so some of that in and of itself begets the fact that maybe it doesn't particularly apply to old people, right? You could argue that once you hit a certain age, how much prevention can we do? And that age may be different for different people. But let me back up. And so when I see, let's say, an elderly patient as a new patient, sometimes I get very frustrated with the situation because they're coming to me on maybe some of them 24, 25 medications that they're taking throughout the day. And this sweet lady this morning, she said, Dr. Stefanski, if I really took every one of these medications like I'm supposed to, my whole life would revolve around setting an alarm clock to take my medicines. And I just refuse for that to be the rest of my life, whatever it is that I have to live. Maybe it's 10 years, maybe it's 15, maybe it's 20, maybe it's 2. And that just kind of hit home to me because I do believe that what I do here is so that we don't get there, right? And I think that is where we have a void in traditional medicine, but it's not by anybody's fault. It's just by kind of an organic growth of where medicine has come from and where we are now. And so the irony of all of it is that we have a generation of people who are living longer than we ever imagined. And that is beautiful, but it is also somewhat concerning in that, so a lot of these patients were started on medical regimens maybe 25, maybe even 30 years ago, and based those regimens were based on knowledge that we had at that time, and also on algorithms of how we treat certain things based on research-driven, scientific-based, evidence-based medicine, right? So our geriatric population is definitely a product of kind of living through an era of very science, evidence-driven medicine, which is beautiful, but also you have to wonder detrimental at the same time. And anybody who knows me knows I'm not all black or white, but it's about understanding how we got where we are and what we can do better. And I don't think that any elderly patient, even if they're on 25 medicines, would say, and as frustrating as that is for them, they love the beauty of generations to come doing better, right? And I think that's what we can do and are doing. And I think that that is a huge part of what I'm passionate about doing here, is making sure that my patients and the generations to come don't end up, 82 and on 15 medicines, and there's no study to say what those 15 pharmaceuticals do in your body at that moment in life. And are we truly helping you, or are we truly harming you? And maybe we'll never fully figure that out, but we can absolutely do better than we've done in the past. And part of the way that we do better with that is truly, I think, an individualized medicine. And so as the pendulum swings, I think that we will do better. And she said to something to me that I've heard not so often, and it was that, if these medicines are making me feel bad, well, I sure as heck don't want to live whatever life I have left to live feeling bad. And I get that. I can completely understand. And the irony of all of it is that she's super healthy. Her mind is super with it. She's a beautiful lady. And so she has a legit opinion about her own health. And she doesn't necessarily want someone to tell her, this is the only way you can do this or else. And if you don't want to do it my way, then you don't need to be my patient. And I think that at some point, because of medical legal liability or stringent kind of rules, so to speak, with medicine that we get there oftentimes with not only maybe our primary care physician, but also a specialist. And it really is detrimental to the patient-doctor relationship, and it really is a saddened way for medicine to go. But I know that we can correct that and we can do better. And that is absolutely what we're passionate about here. So the problem is, the problem with being old, so to speak, right now is that there is a generational issue. And as medicine changes from a generational perspective, so does the way we treat things. And so, she was very upset to learn that because she has had a stent in her heart, one of her heart arteries, that she really by the book needed to be on her blood thinner and her cholesterol medicine forever. Now we know just since she's had the stent to now, there's been changes in how long you even take a blood thinner. And some of that has to do with, hey, blood thinners in an elderly population, we may keep the vasculature open and all the blood flowing, but if they fall, which is more likely, then that's completely detrimental because you're gonna have a bleed, right? And so it's forever changing and forever looking at those things, but also realizing that the recommendations for a lot of these medications and the algorithms we use are not based on elderly geriatric populations. They're based on, actually, you could argue, middle-aged young populations. So taking into account why the rule is what it is, where the recommendation came from, and how that possibly applies to you is super important, maybe one of the most important things in this day and age. And then having an educated discussion about it, right? And so I think that there's this conundrum in our geriatric medical population right now that is spurring a kind of not overzealous, that's not the right word, but it's more of a positive thing, but it's also spurring this, how maybe overzealous, let's say that's the word we're going to use, overzealous kind of run towards anti-aging. Right? And I have said before, I just don't love that word. But why are we using that? Because I think we're looking at, population health as a standard and what we've done, and a generation of geriatric patients that are very frustrated with the health system, that are on a ton of medicines, that weren't necessarily talked to about nutritional supplements, vitamins, lifestyle approach, and now find themselves on a conglomeration of medicines that they're really not sure are helping or hurting. And I don't know if their doctor could necessarily tell them that individually. And so as a run away from that, we've had all this anti-aging. And I just think there needs to be a caution with that as well. Aging, I think what the focus could be on that would maybe be more uplifting for everybody is how do we age? We're all going to do it. Time is the one thing that we are not going to control. So how do we age dynamically and effectively to live longer better, right? I think that's what we all want. We want to live longer better. We want to live today better, and we want that to feed into our lives on a day-to-day basis. And so that is what I think will be the future of really medicine and healthcare, and the future of what people want. I think that, population standards and looking at things with an evidence-based foundation is a wonderful thing. It keeps us directed, it keeps us focused, it keeps us going on how to make decisions, but not without, you don't want to lose, again, the art of medicine, where we really take into account the whole picture and that patient and what is truly going to help their quality of life for what they want. This patient was very upset that she was called and told to start a medicine and really not spoken to about her beliefs in that medicine and what her concerns were and why this was being suggested, and if this was a suggestion for the rest of her life. And so because of that, the automatic discussion was this very negative and kind of, the surrounding emotions were not going to be beneficial for her doing what's best for her. And so I think that is kind of where we need the pendulum to swing the other way to do a better job, especially as we have, I mean, if you know, the beauty of it all is that we will continue to stay around longer, and we will continue to have more elderly patients. And so how can we do it better? I mean, you want to be able to enjoy that time of your life. You want to be able to enjoy all of your life, but even more so, you know, if the goal is to kind of set yourself up for retirement and be able to spend time with your family and do the things that you've always dreamed of doing, well, of course you want to be able to enjoy that. And I think that's something that we may or may not have done as well in the past, by, again, no fault of anyone's own, but we have all these patients who are so good at it that they live so long, but you want the quality to still be there. And so I do believe that what I do even better is making sure that when you get there, the quality is there, that the quality is there now, and the quality continues to be there kind of indefinitely. And if things come up and things get crazy, then we're here to figure out what is the best for you, and again, with what your goals are. So dynamic aging, I would say, is such a better word than anti-aging. We're not against aging. It's going to happen. Time happens, and some of aging involves wisdom, and that is a beautiful thing in itself, which, let me tell you, that my patient this morning also told me a tidbit, and she said, this is an old wives' tale. And I said, I would disagree with you. I bet that it's not an old wives' tale. I would bet that there's a ton of wisdom to be learned by all of our grandparents or parents with regard to natural remedies to fix things, which I just love. So poor baby, she's on Plavix, and so she bruises easily, and she was so cute. She showed me a bruise that had healed so much quicker than the other ones, and she said, you know, a while back, one of my good friends told me that blackberries and rye bread were great to heal a bruise. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to share that today on my video. So that is my medical recommendation today, is that if you have a bruise, try blackberries and rye bread and see where it gets you, because her skin just looked great. So I thought that was really cute, and I can think of all kinds of medical reasons why it probably does help. And she also said that her friend who told her that used to use it, she would give it to her daughters right before their cycles, their menstrual cycles, and it would actually help with cramping. So I would love to know if any of you guys try that and if it works, but I just thought it was too cute not to share. And again, I can think of all kinds of medical reasons why it actually does work, which is the beauty of doing more. You know, there's all these wonderful pharmaceuticals out there, but man, there's something to be said by just doing some things with your diet, doing some things with nutrition to kind of augment what you're trying to correct naturally. And I don't think we should get away from that. So the next thing I want to talk about is that, you know, the years we spend here are obviously important, and maybe if you talk about from the idea of how do we do more individualized medicine better, especially in terms of our growing aging population, I would argue that is through more of what they like to term precision medicine, genetic medicine, which you guys know I love. And so I think that will be the wave of the future, that, you know, how do we customize or individualize even more what we say to do above and beyond a study done on hundreds of thousands of patients, and those results are very important to direct us in care, but how do we get even more individualized and treat the individual? Well, the most individualized thing is your DNA, right? And so if we use your DNA to customize what we tell you to do, all the way from diets, supplements, vitamins, exercise programs, to medications, then that is just medicine on a different level. And, you know, that is true medicine made to support you with dynamic aging. Your genetics, I would argue, overall matter more as you get older, right? Because that is a part of you that you're not going to change. And so understanding how you are made, and where you're coming from and where you're going is, to me, paramount in you being as healthy as you possibly can be, and understanding yourself to understand your health, right? We said that last week, and I just love that, because that is just the definition of everything that we try to do here. So how we can, you know, I think that we can and we must do better with regard to medicine in our world we live in, because we're living longer. And so what I feel like I am super passionate to do about, and where I feel like the type of medicine I believe in is going, is really looking at kind of the genetic basis of everything that we're faced with, whether it is taking a medicine, understanding your mind, understanding your gut, understanding how your body is made, understanding how your body is going to interact with things that you put into it, whether it's food, diet style, even the way you exercise. That is the way to age dynamically and live longer, better, or at least better than we have before, right? Which is awesome. That is what we need to do as a generation that is behind the generation of which I'm talking about. And I hope that is just a forum and a prelude to everything that is to come. I can only imagine where we're going to go, and I think it's going to be so much better than where we've been. And so I thought that, I was exercising yesterday, and I had I was doing a Peloton ride, and one of the coaches said something that just really stuck with me. And then when I had the interaction with this patient today, I said, I think this is what I'm supposed to talk about today. And what she said is that, she said, be committed to writing a story that didn't exist when you grew up. And, I think hurricanes are part of that story. I think we're all doing that, right? I think COVID is a part of that story. But I also think that personally, that is a huge thing for me, because not anything about growing up, but I can even relate that to watching my grandparents be on medicines, watching my parents, watching the way that healthcare was done and medicines have been used, and even looking back through what I learned in medical school not too long ago, but long enough to hope that we are still doing better and we are doing more. We even down to, let's write a story about how nutritional medicine is an integral part in every single conversation that we have with every single patient that comes through the door. And I feel like that is very much in my heart what my story is, because I feel like that has been a huge void in how we take care of our people and how we take care of this community. And certainly in Louisiana, how you find a good balance between the crawfish boils and the crab boils, and everybody wanting to be healthy and do better and not be on the top of the list for hurricanes and diabetes. And so I just think that just really spoke to me, that I do want to be a part of a story that didn't exist when I grew up, whether it's a crazy thing about a hurricane or whether it's a crazy thing about COVID. I want to embrace that, and I want to utilize it to say that it's all part of my story and my story that I'm sharing with you, and that we are creating together, and that we can actually, I would say that my story is we can do medicine better, and we will, and I am dedicated to doing it at least here better and sharing that with you. And so with that, I think that, looking at genetics and integrating genomic medicine into what we do is the way the story is already different for me, even from what I learned in medical school. And learning from my patients, obviously. And so with that, we want to be better here. I want to be better here to serve our patients better for the next generation. I think that is ultimately what we're all trying to do. And so with that said, I'm very excited to announce as well that as of yesterday, and I'm not going to tell you too much about it because it is kind of a secret. I have to see if I can do what I set out to say I could do. But I have enrolled in a secondary training program in genomic medicine because I feel like I have seen what it has done for my patients. I have seen what it has done here as the other piece to the puzzle. That's how I define it all the time. For how I treat my patients and how we look at what they're trying to do, whether it is preventative health, getting more out of what they're doing, or figuring out where they've come from and where they need to go with regard to even the medications they're on. And so as of yesterday, I started that program. I'm hoping to do it in a very reasonable time. I'm hoping that I didn't set my expectations for myself too high. But that's because I'm dedicated to learning everything I can about something that I don't feel like I necessarily got in medical school, but I think has been an integral part in the type of medicine that we do here and how we believe that it works for our patients. And so I'm doing that. And so on Fridays, hopefully right before we do this, I will be doing my own school, which I love almost too much. It's, I love being in school. So I woke up this morning very refreshed and renewed about this other new conquest, and just information and educating myself to then help me be better for you guys. So that is exciting, and that is an exciting announcement for you today. And I will forever, as we go forward, I'm sure I'll learn stuff from there that I will share with you. But anyway, I hope that was helpful. And it's not necessarily about a medication today or a vitamin or a supplement, but more what was on my heart is that, we have a very interesting, ever-changing world that we live in, especially with regard to medicine in this day and age. And I feel like, we haven't done the best we could do. We have a population of elderly individuals that, may or may not be on, for most of them that come through the door, they're on at least 5, if not more, medications. And so I am definitely full force ahead, want to, drive the type of medicine we do, not away from that, but just to prevent that as much as we can. And then if we decide that that's what we need to do, we have tools that we can use to know that this is an effective, safe, with all the information we have, regimen for that patient at their age with their current concerns and their current goals. And so how better to do that than truly have genetics to be a foundation of everything that we work off of. And I think I said this last week, but I feel so incredibly blessed that I am of a generation, at least of physicians, who have this knowledge very readily available to me, which is such a wonderful thing. So I hope to continue to educate myself and continue to grow this mindset and continue to use the art of medicine to surround the science. I definitely, I grew up in the science, and I want to think that now we can kind of rediscover and redefine the art, and that emerge between the two will help us to do so much better than we've ever done before with regard to keeping our generation and generations to come as healthy as we can and to live longer better. So, through better understanding yourself to better your health. So that is kind of our motto here. Hi to everybody who joined us. So happy to see you guys. A little bit of a different video today. And so with that, I think that we need a giveaway. And so probably what I need to give away today, which I'm going to again get in trouble for, is someone who has not done with me. So I'm kind of being biased, but I'm just so passionate about this that I want people to do it. I want to give away our full genetic testing and one nutrigenomic testing package to one of you. And so that includes our DNA health, DNA diet, DNA mind, DNA sport, DNA skin, and what am I forgetting? Estrogen, DNA estrogen. You can even do that if you're a man, by the way. So we're going to give away a full package next week to any of you who liked us, interacted with us. Tell us your fun old wives' tale stories. I love to hear that. I would tell you that my grannies would be Vicks Vapor Rub. Really helps anything, right? Anything. You put Vicks on it, it's going to work. So I'm sure some of you can attest to that. So anyway, please like, share, interact with us. We love you. This is a ton of fun. We're still trying to figure out how to get good quality video of this up on other pages to share, because I know we're limited to Facebook right now, and I'm with you guys. I could turn that off for a bit too. So I don't blame anyone who has done that. But hopefully that is an uplifting, just something to get your mind off of one thing and maybe onto another for a minute. I'm sure that it was a very stressful week, this week for a lot of you and for a lot of your friends and family, as it was for us. And my heart just goes out to everyone right now. But we're going to come through it because we are strong. We are a wonderful community. We are incredible Louisiana people, and we are here to keep you living longer, better, especially in Louisiana. So we love you, and we hope you have a wonderful, beautiful, sunny weekend, and looking forward to seeing you next week. All right, bye.